just chose NBA hell. The Lakers' return is gone. He picked the Philadelphia 76ers and walked straight into a brutal championship war. Boston, New York, and the entire East better be terrified.
No, so it kind of leads to what I think the league is telling us, right or wrong. Because I think Philly-Boston is a better game than Philly-Lakers. I think it's a more important game than Philly-Lakers. I think it's a game that you are likely going to see, not likely, you very likely could see in the playoffs. I think Boston is better positioned than the Lakers.
But it's not more intriguing. Don't you? Like, I want to see LeBron back in LA.
So, sure, yes. I want to see it too. But to me, what the league is telling us, right or wrong, is they still look at LeBron James as the main attraction of their sport.
That's right.
But the Knicks are going to open their title defense and drop the banner. It could be against the team they beat in the finals. It could be against a team they beat en route to the finals in the Western Conference or in the Eastern Conference playoffs. I guess with the Sixers it is in the second round. It could be the finals we didn't get against the Thunder, the last two champions. No, we're going to have LeBron in the building for that.
Yep.
And then the marquee Christmas Day game is always that 5 p.m. The third game is always.
Is it?
That's the way I'm basing that purely off historically. That was the one game sometimes that was on broadcast TV. That would go ESPN, ABC, and then it would go TNT for the night. So historically, that third Christmas Day slot was the slot where it got the biggest rating because it was so that's that's why I'm basing it on that. And they put LeBron's return to LA there when it's not like there's I guess you could go to the 80s for like a Sixers-Lakers, not even rivalry. But
and then you got, it was Dr. J, Magic, Kareem.
Yeah, 40 years ago.
You had Iverson against, Kareem or Shaq.
A quarter, you're right. The last time the Sixers were awesome.
Historic.
And so it just, to me, is noteworthy that is what the league, to me, prioritized. The other thing that jumped...
Well, quickly on that.
Please.
LeBron last year was the most viewed player in the league. LeBron was first, Wemby was second, Luka was third, and then Steph was fourth. So they're not just guessing.
No.
And
LeBron on a new team is interesting. Everything about the Sixers is interesting.
Part of it too. I mean, look, had he gone to Miami or Cleveland, they still may have been in this slot, his team. But going to Philly with Jalen Brown and if Embiid is healthy, they're one of the most intriguing teams in the league. So I totally get it.
And so
I agree.
And again, you get the finals rematch with the Spurs and the Knicks, and that's just going to be awesome. Miami, Boston, it's fine. LeBron,
Giannis is
it's Giannis. It's fine. Yeah, Giannis against Boston and Giannis in Miami. And then
scored 80 points.
Philly, LeBron again against the Lakers.
His only return trip to LA.
Yeah, that's going to be fantastic.
Oh, that's the only one.
Well, you only play East-West. You
right,
only play one game.
Twice.
Yeah.
So that'll be great. And then, I just think that is fantastic. They did a really good job.
So, listen, I think they did a really good job, too. Some other things, though, come to mind for me immediately. Because the biggest omission from this list is Jalen Brown's return to Boston. And the Sixers playing in Boston. And that obviously is going to happen a bunch throughout the year, a couple times. They'll play because they're in the same conference 4 times. And the Knicks-Spurs game being...
Can we stay there for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Do you think that's a real omission? Because that's popping up in Boston Celtics circles online.
What do you mean?
Would you rather
Philly,
see 70s? Yeah, Philly, Boston, rather than these games are just better.
But then came the part nobody saw coming. LeBron may have just chosen the most brutal path of his career, and the reason behind it could change everything.
The question then is, I think, if you want to take away something from this is what I would tell anybody watching or you too. Take away, if you ever questioned the motivations of LeBron, he chose the hardest path, I think. Now, you might say best chance to win. He goes back to Cleveland. He's made man. Like he's
Hold on, Bob. Hold up. What you mean the hardest path to what?
Okay, sorry. He chose the one that was, there's only one reason. It's to win. It wasn't because I played there before, I grew up there, I want to play with my friend. It was because I want to win. So I'm going to go where I want to go. It gives me the best chance to win. Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah, but is that the hardest?
I think he could, if you're just talking about winning, I think
the hardest road is staying
where he was.
That's the hardest.
Okay, yeah.
That is the hardest.
And I don't know, you'd have to have him on, ask him that.
But I'm not going to knock him just because he goes from team to team and tries to win a championship.
Yeah, and I don't think he should be.
Totally different.
Yeah, that's
era.
a different thing. I guess what I was saying is, would it have been easier to go back to go to play in Miami or Cleveland, or do you guys think no?
Considering
I think
what's
going
at
back
stake,
to those teams, the challenge would be different.
The challenge would be different, but going back to those teams, there's no expectations. And it's crazy to put the expectation on a 41, 42-year-old.
That's my point. The expectations are going to be different now.
For sure.
And he welcomed that by making the decision he made.
Yeah.
So when I say hard, I guess that's what I'm talking about.
From that regard, I got you.
But I think like if we just took 2 seconds to say, why did he go? But both you guys go, because I think he thinks the best chance to win.
Yeah.
Why can't our society just accept that reason?
Because it's LeBron freaking
But
James.
hasn't he made winning kind of his whole pursuit?
Rob, you're gonna have a lot of headaches from this entire season.
We'll have to have this conversation another time.
I don't know. I'm just
seriously
about to find out.
LeBron James didn't just choose Philadelphia. He may have just chosen the most dangerous road possible. Because if you look at the NBA's biggest games, one thing becomes impossible to ignore. The league still sees LeBron James as the main attraction. Philadelphia versus Boston might be the better basketball game. Boston may be better positioned. That matchup could very realistically become a playoff war. But Philadelphia versus LeBron? That is the game people cannot look away from. And the numbers explain why. Last season, LeBron was reportedly the most viewed player in the entire NBA, finishing ahead of Victor Wembanyama, Luka Doncic, and Stephen Curry. That isn't nostalgia. That isn't the league guessing. That's audience demand. And that brings us to the decision that makes this entire situation so much more explosive. If LeBron wanted comfort, he had other options. Cleveland offered history. Miami offered familiarity. Los Angeles offered the possibility of simply continuing the story everyone already knew. But Philadelphia? That is different. That is pressure. That is expectation. Because now LeBron is walking into a team built around Joel Embiid, alongside Jalen Brown, with Tyrese Maxey already established as a major piece. And if Embiid is healthy, suddenly the Sixers aren't some sentimental LeBron experiment. They become one of the most fascinating teams in basketball. But fascination comes with a price. Philadelphia won't simply ask LeBron to sell jerseys. They'll ask him to win. And at 41, going on 42, that expectation is brutal. Every bad game becomes a headline. Every playoff loss becomes a referendum. Every injury becomes another question. And every championship contender in the East now has a reason to circle Philadelphia on the calendar. But the schedule reveals something even more revealing about what the NBA thinks LeBron brings to this new chapter. Then came the Christmas schedule. And this is where the league's priorities became impossible to miss. LeBron's return to Los Angeles was placed in the marquee 5 p.m. Christmas Day window, a historically important television slot. Think about what that means. The NBA had other enormous possibilities. Boston and Philadelphia. New York against another major contender. Giannis against Boston. Potential finals rematches. Yet LeBron returning to Los Angeles? That became the event. And honestly, there is something almost cinematic about it. LeBron walking back into Crypto.com Arena wearing Philadelphia colors. The same building where he built the final chapter of his Lakers story.
Now, returning as the enemy.
That isn't simply another regular season game.
That's television.
That's drama.
That's the kind of storyline the NBA knows can pull casual viewers into the sport. And yet, the biggest omission from the schedule may have nothing to do with Los Angeles at all, because there is one game that immediately raised eyebrows. Philadelphia versus Boston, especially with Jalen Brown returning to Boston. That story is sitting there, practically begging to become a national event. These teams play multiple times because they're in the same conference. So eventually, Brown walks back into Boston wearing Philadelphia colors. LeBron walks into the same building. And suddenly, this isn't just basketball. It's history, revenge, pressure, and championship ambition colliding in one arena. Some people will argue the league should have prioritized that matchup. And they're not crazy. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The NBA isn't always selling the best basketball game. Sometimes it's selling the biggest story. And right now, LeBron James remains the biggest story. But then the conversation took an even deeper turn, because maybe this wasn't about television at all. Maybe it was about LeBron's motivation. Ask the simplest question. Why Philadelphia? The answer may be brutally simple. He wants to win. Not nostalgia. Not comfort. Not because he played there before. Not because it's the easiest emotional story. Winning. And that's why the hardest path argument matters. Because returning to Cleveland might have been easier emotionally. Miami might have carried its own legacy. Staying in Los Angeles would have preserved familiarity. Philadelphia gives him something else. Pressure. At this stage of his career, LeBron isn't being judged like an ordinary veteran. He's being judged like LeBron James. And that means the standard is absurd. At 41, 42 years old, people will still expect him to help carry a team toward a championship. That is an insane burden. But LeBron apparently welcomed it. And maybe that's the real story here. He didn't choose the quiet ending. He chose the battlefield. So maybe the question isn't whether LeBron chose NBA hell. Maybe the question is whether NBA hell is exactly where LeBron James wanted to be. Because now Philadelphia has the spotlight. Boston has a problem. New York has a target on its back. Los Angeles has a revenge game waiting. And LeBron? He has chosen the hardest possible stage to prove once again that the chase for another championship is still worth everything.
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.